monarchy, army. Yes. And they say they have a bone to pick with us. Now, Euripides, I want to say this mainly to the ladies here. One of the plays he wrote is called The Trojan Women. Don't write it. And it depicts the scene the morning after in Troy, when all the great Trojan ladies are shackled and they're together awaiting their fate. And they talk among themselves about what once was and what might be. It is the most heartrending thing. One of the 3 or 4 most heartrending things I've ever read in my life. And you ladies, I will tell you, if you read it, it's called The Trojan Women. You will think that the author, Euripides, was a woman. It is written totally from the feminine point of view. And there have only been 2 masculine authors that I know of who could ever do this, who put themselves in the position of a woman and write from a woman's point of view. Scott Fitzgerald and Euripides. And in just one little example of the Trojan Women here, Andromache is talking about Hector and how much she misses Hector. It's a 1.5 years since his death at the hands of Achilles, and he's still with her in her mind and heart, and she misses him so she could almost die. But she's saying, I have to stay alive for our son, Styanax. He's my little Hector. And as long as I have him, I can bear under him. And later, when the Greeks, the chieftains, the great heroes of the Greeks come to tell them their fate, she, Andromache, is claimed by Neoptolemus to become his kept woman. And he is the son of Achilles. And Neoptolemus, with Odysseus and all the rest standing there, Agamemnon tells her, you must first give over your son. We're not going to let the son of Hector live. And they took that little boy to the highest battlement in Troy, and they threw him to his death. Oh, this is heartbreaking to read the Trojan Women. And Hector, looking back on old Priam, how it had been in the glory days of Troy when their family was young, and how Paris was so sweet when he was young, and then Paris, because of his actions, had brought down ruin on Troy. Oh, it's a tale of woes. It's fascinating. You can't put it down once you start reading. This is the point about the Greek dramatists. You see, you must never forget, times change, but people do not. So what they wrote about then is just as significant for us as it was the day it was written. Because we're the same as they were. Our hopes, feelings, desires, our foibles is all the same as everybody else has ever lived. People don't change. People are the same. 5,000 years ago, they're just like we are. Well, the setting changes, certainly. Our modes of dress and these. But inside, people are people. So that's what these are timeless. Time has nothing to do with it. And they're there for you. I recommend them. They will enlarge and deepen your humanity. It's a wonderful thing. Especially in this day and age. This day and age which has such a hard edge to it. It's good to have your humanity brought. Now, if I said to you, tonight we're going to go to a play of comedy, that would sound pretty good, right? Somebody had to invent this. Well, just like Aeschylus invented drama, Aristophanes invented comedy. Somebody had to invent comedy. Well, he did. And he did it in the form of a comedic play. Aristophanes, Aristophanes, Aristophanes. Now, we have 10 or 11 of his, and I read 3, but I want to tell you the truth, because I always do. I didn't laugh once. We know, we have it on excellent evidence from a number of sources. 8,000 Athenians would sit in a semicircular theater looking down on the stage at the players doing this comedy, and 8,000 people would be convulsed with laughter, almost rolling in the aisles, holding their sides to keep from them splitting, tears streaming down. They were laughing so hard because Aristophanes poked fun at every leading man in Athens. Nobody was safe. He went after anybody and everybody if he could get a laugh. So I kept reading, and then I would reread. And I must be missing something. And after it's all been said and done, 3 plays in, I never laughed once. And then it finally hit me. What was wrong? I should have been there. 2,400 years later, it's not funny. But it was funny as hell then. I've been there. Yeah. Then I just want to mention 2 or 3 more. Don't write. Hippocrates. He's the father of medicine. He wrote down every illness, malady, sickness, disease, wrote down all the supposed cures, debunked every one that was foolish. You know, these crazy remedies that would make you sicker than they would ever make you more well. And then he wrote in what properly should be done for this, that, and the other. And then he wrote the code of ethics for physicians, which doctors still swear to today when they enter the medical profession. It's called the Hippocratic Oath. He's the father of medicine. Then there was Herodotus. I've mentioned him to you. He's the world's first historian. He wrote the history of the Persian Wars. Now, Herodotus was not what we would call an objective historian. A lot of his work is fable, garrulous stories that he didn't really take the time to check. He just took people's word for it. Some of it's frankly fantastic, almost fairy tales. Other parts are legitimately historical. But then, within just a half a generation, Athens would produce an historian who became the greatest who ever lived, at least to this degree. He wrote the greatest work of history that's ever been written. And his name, Thucydides. 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 That's one of the great Greek names right there. Thucydides. And his book is entitled The Peloponnesian War. Some of you have already reasoned that sooner or later, Athens and Sparta are going to come to blows. Did you sense that was coming? And it's going to be a fight to the death. A fight to the death. And it will be a battle royal between Athens and Sparta. And he wrote a history of the war called the Peloponnesian War. It started in 431 and it ended in 404. It lasted 27 years. It's the single greatest work of history that's ever been written. And it will give you an insight into human nature, I think, as great as any 6 plays that Shakespeare wrote. And I'll tell you this, if I could only recommend one book for you to read from now to the end of your life, it would be The Peloponnesian War by Thucydides. And then I might think of 10 or 15 others, but first would be Thucydides. Here.